So, Mike, we'll stay with you with Alabama, and this tells us a lot right here. And Vegas doesn't play the games, but they certainly come very close. And for Texas A&M to have played as well as they have against teams like Arkansas, Tennessee, quality teams that are top 15 to 20 teams, I don't care what they're ranked, they are in the 15 to 20 range nationally. And if they went to other conferences, they would show that. And Alabama's a 17-point favorite against the 6th ranked team in the country that's looked very good, very solid, top to bottom. It's just crazy, Mike.
Yeah, Mark, Vegas isn't going to make the same mistake they made last week. The opening line for Tennessee started out, I believe, at 8.5, and within 48 hours it was at 13.5. And I believe in some places even went further than that. But 5-point swing in 48 hours, and Vegas still lost money on that game, obviously. With all that money coming in at 8.5 to move it 5 points in 48 hours, that's a ton of money. And, of course, all those people who moved that line, they all cashed in. They all won that. They all took money from Vegas. So Vegas isn't going to make that mistake again. You know, as a Tennessee fan, I saw Texas A&M in person 2 weeks ago, and then I saw Alabama last week. It's not fair to use Tennessee as that common opponent denominator in these two games. Tennessee was much more injured coming into the Alabama game. They lost 4 guys in the A&M game that did not play at all in the Alabama game, and then they lost 5 guys in the Alabama game that did not come back in, and that's not counting the guys that weren't ready. That couldn't play starting for the A&M game. So I don't think it's fair to use Tennessee's common denominator. Alabama just looks like they're in their groove. Their defense is clicking on all cylinders. Jalen Hurts is producing at quarterback. While I think A&M is a great team, I don't think they're as complete as Alabama. And I believe the two areas where it's going to show is offensive line, A&M's offensive line versus Alabama's dominant front seven, and then linebackers. I don't think A&M's linebackers are good enough to handle the diversity of Alabama's offense. The strong inside running game, the speed to the outside, off tackles, and then the X factor of Jalen Hurts running. Of course, he didn't have to pass a lot last week. I think A&M will probably press the box and force him into passing situations because their secondary is very good. But in the end, Alabama's defense, their special teams, and their new diversified offense, I think, carries the day. Alabama continues marching and really sets the bar high and kind of takes ownership of that number 1 position in the college football playoff polls that will be released 2 weeks from after these games Saturday.
I think what I want to see in this game is Trevor Knight and Trevion Williams together for Texas A&M has been a rushing attack that I think has caught us by surprise a little bit with how good they are this year. But I'm not sure how much Trevion Williams is actually going to be able to do and run on this Alabama defense because no one runs on this Alabama defense. So can Trevor Knight become a Johnny Manziel-esque type of playmaker to carry this Aggie offense to make some plays on this Alabama defense? Someone he can draw up some plays to beat and to find some weakness in this Alabama defense if there is one. But it's going to be Trevor Knight having to make plays, and object number 1 for Trevor Knight is going to be not to turn the ball over. We've seen the Alabama's defense is scoring like a lot of teams' offense right now. Their score, if you turn the ball over, they're going to find a way to try and get into the end zone. It's happened multiple times this year, and Bama just finds a way. They get a turnover and they score with it. So Trevor Knight must take care of the ball there. He can't turn it over. So I think with Bama has seen this is difficult to be the best offense I think they've seen. Ole Miss, probably one-dimensional. Arkansas. They tried to get pass happy on Bama. It worked for a little bit, but you can't run on this Bama defense. And Tennessee was a mess with the injuries, and Josh Dobbs wasn't able to do it by himself. So it's Jalen Hurts. If you move to Bama's offensive side of the ball, he confused Tennessee's defense a little bit by making when things broke down, being able to make some plays. So I agree with Mike. The way Alabama's rolling right now, I don't see any way A&M can win this game with that defense. Trevor Knight probably does have a couple turnovers to where Alabama may not score a touchdown on them, but we'll make something happen. But I really just think A&M's inability to run the ball in this Alabama defense will be the difference.
Yeah, we've seen it ever since 2012, where the A&M defense has been run over by just every good rushing team in the SEC West. Now we've seen this year where they've stood up to the likes of Arkansas, and that's a significant improvement for this defense to consistently stop the Razorbacks. Not that they stopped them all night, but in key situations in that game where it was 3rd and short, 4th and short. Now Alabama, they're a whole other ball game, as we've been talking about here. It seems like everybody's gaining like 10 and 12 yards a carry. So early in the year, it was exclusively Damian Harris was the guy getting the football. And then they started to work into the Ole Miss game, a couple big carries for Joshua Jacobs at that point. He had 6 carries for 38 yards, a measly 6.3 per carry. So he's a scrub, sent him to the bench. 6 yards per carry. What's going on? Because Jalen Hurts is at 11. Bo Scarborough's at 21.8. Damian Harris last week was 6.7, 14 carries for 94 yards. So basically anyone they plug in there between the 3 backs and the quarterback is going to gain 10 yards per carry and has been over the last several weeks against quality defensive foes. It's crazy. Alabama, Tennessee. And Mike, to check the line, as I did just a few minutes ago while you were talking, has gone from 17 to about 18.5 to 19. So Vegas still hasn't learned, possibly. Maybe they can't send it too high for people to be scared off.
3 touchdown favorites against the number 6 team in the nation.